It has been a little over 2 weeks since we started up the Woodmaster 4400, the outdoor wood burner. A little over 2 weeks. And so it's time to do the first ash clean out of the year. So cleaning out the ashes is something that you need to do with an outdoor wood burner or boiler. Some of the newer gasification units have a little different maintenance routine that's required, but with the Woodmaster 4400, that is about all you really need to do throughout the year, is continue to clean out the ashes every 10 days to 2 weeks maybe. It depends on the type of wood you are burning and also how much wood you're burning. Obviously, the more wood you burn, the more ash you're going to have. I'll just show you quick. The pile of wood that I had here is pretty much gone. I got a few chunks left that I need to burn those up, but everything's been cleared out in these past 2 weeks. I did end up having to dip a little bit into some of these smaller pieces. I like using the smaller pieces, and this is something else I get asked about quite a bit, is like, why do I burn small pieces of wood like that in a great big outdoor wood burner? And my thought is, these things, number one, they are seasoned better, they burn better, and the other thing is, once, like this fire now, is just sitting there. There's no air being forced in. The fire is just smoldering. In fact, if we take a look at this, you can see there's barely even any embers or cold. But now you see there's one kind of starting to come on there when it gets a little air to it. So when this water temperature drops to 160, this blower will kick on. And when that blower kicks on and forces air into the firebox, pieces of wood like this will reignite faster. They'll burn and get the water temperature up to 170 quicker, and then the blower shuts off. So I think that having smaller, yes, split pieces of wood, and split, not just full rounds, I think having wood like this and using it in something like that is more efficient. Your blower fan is going to run less. Your fire is going to get the water temp back up to the temperature it needs quicker. And once that blower shuts off, like the wood isn't burning, everyone will argue and say, this piece of wood is going to burn quicker than that piece of wood. But if the fire doesn't have any air, it's not really burning at all. It's just kind of smoldering. So anyway, the first thing that I always do before I clean out the ashes is, there's always a lot of debris, bark, whatnot, pine needles, things that come onto the floor in here. And as I'm scooping out the ashes, I don't want any of this stuff to be down there to, if I possibly, spill or drop an ember, I don't want anything on the floor where it might catch on fire. So what I do is I grab this handy little tool right here and I just clean the area out. Oh no! My battery's dead. But I think I got enough. All right, I think that's going to be, and it was enough just to get all this stuff kind of cleaned out. Yeah, what the heck? Well, going to have to recharge that thing. So I put the ashes in a metal trash can, and then once they're in there, I put a lid on that, and I let it sit for probably 3 to 5 days, just to make sure everything is completely burned out before I dump the ashes out. The other thing that I use and need is this thing right here. That is a must-have. Whenever you're loading the fire, I put that on, and when I'm definitely cleaning out the ashes, I will put that on. So I'm going to get that on, and then we will start scooping out these ashes. One other quick thing, I will push some of these bigger coals and embers to the back, and I'll scoop out the ashes in the front here. And then when I'm all done, I'll pull those coals back to the front, and we should be good to go. All right, I don't know if you can hear me or not, or how muffled this is going to sound. I might end up not using this voiceover, but here we go. We're going to push the bigger coals to the back. We've got some nice coals on the top. I'm not too worried about saving all these coals because I will just make more easy enough. Whoa, sorry about that. All right, so now it's just a matter of scooping out the ashes. All right, we got the ashes all cleaned out. And now if we look inside, we are left with a nice bed of coals. And that is looking good. So you can see that even though I may have scooped out what looks like a lot of coals, there's still plenty in here that will get going and burn just fine. So now it's just a matter of pulling all that stuff up to the front, just like that, and they're pretty much done. So that's looking good, and actually, you know what? I am going to, since this is my morning, I would be doing my morning fill-up right now, so I'm just going to put a few pieces on to get through the day, and then I'll be done. One, two, three, four, 5 pieces. So the first ash clean out of the burning season is complete. And that's what I mentioned earlier. That's probably what I end up doing every 10 to 14 days throughout the season. So throughout the winter, spring, fall, winter, spring. Anytime that the outdoor wood burner is burning, you're gonna have to clean out the ashes. And that's just my process. Some people have an auger system or a grate. Some have an ash pan underneath. Just all depends on the setup and the type of wood burner or boiler that you are using. So like I mentioned, I usually wait 3 to 5 days before I dump those ashes out. And then I have a little area right outside the shed here that I dump everything throughout the fall and winter. In the winter, obviously it's easier. Once snow is on the ground, you don't have to worry about any of those ashes or those coals or embers reigniting when they're out in your yard. But I have a little area cleared out where I dump everything throughout the winter and spring, and then when I'm done in the spring burning, I will come up with the tractor and I'll just make a couple scoops of those ashes and haul them back and fill in spots, sometimes around the yard, but just back in the wood yard I'll fill in a ditch, and that's where the ashes eventually end up. So it's kind of like a stage. They come out of the boiler, they go into the can sits for a few days, then the can gets dumped on a pile, and then the pile eventually makes its way back to somewhere in the wood yard. So for everyone who is counting the number of times you touch wood while you're processing it, don't forget that removing the ashes from your fireplace or your outdoor wood burner, that is still touching the wood technically. So today now will be the last time of touching that wood, because now it's in the garbage can. Although I guess you could consider if I scoop it up into the tractor bucket, it's one more touch. But yeah, everyone always thinks about how many times you touch the wood, but there's always that final time, and that is cleaning out the ashes. So that's done, and now I've got to go recharge my battery so my leaf blower is ready to go, because the leaves are falling and I'm going to need the leaf blower. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Stay safe, have fun, and be cool.